When we talk about giants, we often see them in movies depicted as towering, human-like beings that are ruthless and violent creatures, and many have regarded them as mythical creatures alongside dragons and mermaids. But with so many references to these beings, and for as long as mankind has existed, giants have always been part of our history. And it begs the question, did giants really exist? In every major religion and cultures throughout history, there has always been stories of a time where giants roamed the earth. Well, in fact, according to the Old Testament of the Bible, in the book of Genesis 6, these were the giants on earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. They were a race of giants called the Nephilims, and they were mentioned and described in the Bible numerous times. In Hinduism, they were called the Daityas, said to be the offspring of Diti, the earth goddess, and the ancient sage Kashyap. The species of the Daityas in Hindu were said to have been as tall as a mountain. Giants also existed in the religion of Buddhism. They were called Asuras, translated as titans, demigods, or anti-gods. They are described as having 3 heads with 3 faces and either 4 or 6 arms. Much like the Asura in Hinduism, they were also referred to as titans and demigods. They also exist in the popular myths. Like in Greek mythology, giants, or the Gigantes is what they were called, were the offsprings of Gaia, the primordial goddess of earth, and Uranus, the primordial god of the sky. In Norse mythology, there was a race of giants known as the Jotnar. They were said to be the descendants of Ymir, the very first being who was also a giant. There have been so many origin stories of these giants, whether it be in religion or culture, but why hasn't there been any kind of evidence of giants discovered? Well, there actually may have been, hundreds even, but the conspiracy is every time any kind of evidence is unearthed, even by well-known archaeologists, they somehow just suddenly disappear. One notable documentary was in Sardinia, Italy. There have been numerous skeletal discoveries of these giants that was excavated from gigantic tombs all throughout Sardinia. Notable sites such as the Pauli Arbarei.
In Pauli Arbarei here in southern Sardinia, where for the past 50 years or so, local people have been coming forward with bones and skeletons and skulls, which they claim once belonged to giants.
Many of the locals even claim to have witnessed and held these bones with their very own hands way back then.
Beh, sicuramente abbondava i 2 metri, sicuramente, perché, ripeto, un'altezza perlomeno inusuale. Poi, ripeto, quelle che sono le proporzioni, noi ci siamo misurati, ecco, le ossa del femore e allora abbiamo dedotto che fosse, ecco, una persona, ecco, di levatura importanza, nel senso, ecco, alto, diciamo, probabilmente anche più di 2 metri.
And the discoveries were also consistent with the local folklore was once inhabited by a race of giants called the Shardana. The only physical evidence ever documented, or rather, what's left of it, is the giant tooth that was mysteriously given to a TV reporter, Jamie Theakston, and then was later examined by a dentist, Dr. Enrico Manca.
No, never. I never seen tooth of these size before this day.
And you were certain they were human? Not animal?
No, absolutely
human.
Human molar. Very large human molar.
But once the tooth was handed over for further analysis, again, officials around the area continued to claim and withheld any kind of artifacts and remains found in the area.
dove viene pubblicata una relazione dell'Istituto di Antropologia di Padova che analizzò diverse ossa arrivate da Sardara, fra cui figurano 3 femori di 106, 111 e 127 centimetri, quest'ultimo appartenuto presumibilmente ad un uomo alto oltre 6 metri. Ovviamente di questi preziosi reperti si è persa ogni traccia.
And a similar case was in the Spiro Mounds, specifically in the Craig's Mound of Oklahoma, where allegedly numerous giant skeletons were discovered in the early 1900s. This was even documented in numerous newspapers in August 26 of 1934. It stated that the Pocola Mining Company dug up a thigh bone of a giant. This large femur or thigh bone would have belonged to a 9-feet human. The site would later have more reports of giant-sized skeletons found in the area, but unfortunately, even after it has been reported by many accounts, no artifacts or giant skeletal remains was ever found. Another popular, or maybe the most popular site to have allegedly found remains of giant was in Lovelock Cave, western Nevada. The popular story says that in 1911, a cave discovered by 2 miners was examined by Professor J.C. Jones of the University of Nevada, who discovered 45 huge skeletal deep inside the cave. One of the miners, named James H. Hart, even reported to have recovered a mummified giant of about 7 feet tall. After this discovery, archaeologists started to further excavate the Lovelock Cave. One official excavation was in 1912 by the University of California, led by L.L. Loud, which reported to have found more than 10,000 artifacts in the area. But unfortunately, Loud did not reveal or was not able to give a detailed report of any of the findings, even though that rumors surfaced that they were able to find a mummified giant of a height of 8 feet tall, which shouldn't be out of the ordinary since the cave was considered to be a dwelling place of the race of red-haired giants called the Sitka, mentioned in the ancient folklore of the Paiutes, the Native American tribe who fought a war against these giants. Yes, it seems as though these were all just rumors and didn't have any real hard facts to support their claims. However, there is another notable discovery, but this time it was well documented. This was a discovery in 1892 by the geologist Frank Burns, where he found a burial room along the entrance of a cave. Inside the room were 8 coffins of great size, measuring approximately 7.5 feet long, but a very narrow 18 inches wide and 7 inches deep. The coffins eventually ended up in the Smithsonian Archive. When a researcher by the name of Frederick J. Pohl inquired of these coffins, the Smithsonian at first did not know the whereabouts of these coffins, even though there are actual documents stating that they had them. But later on, the Smithsonian stated that they have found the coffins but are now inaccessible in one of their warehouses. Most of these alleged discoveries of any remains of giants were seemingly connected or directly sent to one organization, the Smithsonian, a federal establishment by the United States government. And of course, these were merely considered as speculations, and over the hundreds of reports or findings throughout history about giants, they were said to be a hoax according to the Smithsonian. And this have been going on for centuries, starting in the late 1800s. There have been way more of these archaeological findings all throughout the world, excavated by archaeologists and explorers. But once the skeletons were in the process of documentation, they all just mysteriously vanished. Whether you believe in these stories or not, and wherever part of the world you may be, they will continue to be part of our culture and history. These are only the few stories that I can show you today, but there are so much more out there. In fact, thousands of years worth of stories that still exist till this day. But at the end of the day, they will all remain a mystery. And speaking of mysteries, ever heard of UAPs, or otherwise known as UFOs? Well, apparently, according to the Pentagon, they are now considered a threat to national security. If you want to know more, check this next video out. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. But besides that, until next time, I'm out.